everyone. So I'm just going to give a brief about EEG thing and this recording system, and then Prince will set up this recording on a subject, and obviously I think, what's your name? you, yes.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Also.
So I think it would be better if you volunteer as a subject.
Oh, okay.
Because we have less here, that's why. Okay? So you can come and sit. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we can also think of him. So you can come. It will be A's for Prince, that's why. Okay? So, yeah, you start. I will. So, giving a brief about the electroencephalogram, it's actually a method by which what we actually do, we are using this electrode, and through this electrode we are taking volts around your scalp. So we are taking and recording these volts, and then we are obviously when over a time period, if you are recording some volts, it goes up and down. So we get some kind of waves which are like this over time, microvolts. Okay? So these kind of signals we will obtain. So for this Maximus RMS, this is actually a 21 channel electrode system. So these electrodes are placed at a specific place on the scalp. It is also defined. So we actually place the electrodes according to the international 1020 system. There are many other systems as well, but we go with the mostly standard thing, that is 1020. So what happens, if you see, this is your scalp and this is your nasal, that is the nose position, okay, this point. So from here to this Indian point, so we go 10% there, 10%, so you can see here, yeah, so 10% like this and 20% like this. So the distance is 10% there and 20% there. So it is called 1020 EEG system. So Prince is going to place the electrode like this 1020 EEG system. You can come and help him out. Okay, well, this is, you can see that this setup is obviously somewhat cumbersome. This is having many electrodes, but in clinical experiments we prefer many number of electrodes because it's going to take the data from all over the scalp. We have also one electrode recorder, you can see here. This one. Okay, so there are also many systems have come from ranging from 1 to 64, even 128 electrodes as well. Okay, and you can see the difference that obviously this one is very much easy to handle and it's portable. This is somewhat more cumbersome and it takes time. But for clinical purpose, we obviously prefer this one. Anyone have any idea of this thing beforehand or? Huh?
So what is the purpose of using or like having this experimental setup? Why would you use this? What would be the purpose? What method does this going to be used for? Isn't that the purpose of the class? Like.
So are you all related to this course only now?
Response to the external stimuli, what that will provide.
Yeah. So it could be used as a methodology to study the stimuli and hence influence your study further.
Human behavior. So according to that, it's like how your brain behaves according to different stimuli. So if a recording is being given to brain, how the brain waves changes, how our brain behaves in that. And then when we, why we record the thing over a time, because we after that when we get the signals, we analyze those signals, and then it comes in the domain of signals and systems. Okay, signal analysis. Okay. Okay, one more thing for the analysis of this signal is that we need some reference point. Okay, so in reference point what we see, either if you are in a calm state, we take that to be as a reference point, or when we are not, you are not given that stimuli, that is taken as a reference point. So those reference things are can be called as a control signals, or those subjects whose recording have been done like that, they come into control group kind of thing. And after that, when we are giving those stimuli to the students, to the subjects, and then we are recording those those signals, and then they come as a, it's like we want to actually analyze those things. So we obviously analyze it based on some reference point. That is the.
Can you also tell us what this material is?
I will be coming to.
So,
And
is this is this safe for classroom demo?
yeah, sure.
So he's
You will not get any
no,
kind of
he's
shock.
my friend and I have to return him 5 minutes. What's the probability that he loses his memory after this?
Not at all. 0%. To be very true, it's nothing is coming from that side now. We are only taking voltages from his side. So how
Can we send something?
he will get some shock? Yeah. Well, one thing I want to tell that for this scalp system, we are actually defining the ground as well and reference as well. So ground, because this whole scalp we have to see, we have to take a point where we can say that this point is ground, and then we take a reference, and along with that reference we are taking the voltages. So we need a ground, and mostly ground is taken as this point. And in our case we have taken reference to be this point. At times we can even take our ear or behind the ear as a reference point.
What is the difference between ground and reference?
Ground is the zero voltage, we call it. At times the difference between ground and reference is really very low, but still we need to define the ground and reference. There is a very minute difference between these two.
How do we
level of voltage.
understand it from application perspective? What is the difference between ground and reference?
Actually, whatever voltage we are taking in reference to the reference only. So when we are recording the things, actually the recorder takes the difference between these two voltages. But still we need to define this ground thing. After that I am not clear with this. So
And maybe, I don't know, I am not from this domain, but what is the applicability of all this? I mean, how do we use it in real life, and what real problems does it solve? I got all the signals. Now, what are the applications this will be used for?
we analyze the behavior of a person, or you can say maybe we can open YouTube and it will show you. There are many brain. It's like just by thinking you can control many of the things. So what happens if you think a particular thing, your brain acts in that way only. I will talk about that. Brain signals are classified basically into 5 basic signals. So we study that, we classify that, and then we get to know, okay, if a person thinks about red color, our brain works in that way only. And then we are able to classify, and then we are able to control a system that a person is thinking about red color, so show the red thing. So this thing is there in TEDx. If you see, you might get it. Okay. So next we have something else. Anyone have queries?
What is this material?
Okay.
You can talk.
This material is EEG. We actually for increasing the conductivity of the scalp, and between this electrode we need this paste, and also to make it to stick for a long time. I can show you that. One more thing I wanted to tell. Okay, different types of brain waves and so. Okay, so brain waves are actually whatever waves we get in the time domain, but we actually transform it in a frequency domain, and we classify the brain in typically five types. So the brain waves which are less than 4 Hz are told to be delta. Between 4 and 8 it is theta, then 8 to 12 it is alpha. From 12 to 30 it is beta. This beta wave is mostly related to high mental activity or body activity, or whenever you are in a wakeful state. This is mostly related to sleepy state. This is mostly, it's like you are in a meditation state or you are concentrating. Theta is also related to mental thinking and all. So there are many, if you read, you will read on internet that many work have been done based on this. For gamma also related to very high activity kind of thing. So here also why we are placing electrodes at different place of our scalp is that our brain has different regions, and these all different regions have different specification. It's like this occipital lobe is mostly for the vision thing. So it's like if we place electrode here, so the things related to eye will be much more recorded. And then if you see this frontal lobe, maybe you must have known about the lie detector thing. So how does it do? It does the same thing. So some electrodes are being placed there in the frontal lobe, and this frontal lobe is very much responsible for lying, and you can see it's for planning also. So during that questionnaire, if in those electrodes, if someone gets high peaks, so they can detect that yes, this person is lying. So with different regions, we can see that there are different, you can say, possibilities, and also we have different possibilities in the different types of brain waves.
Do you ever just place like this, like you said that if you put electrodes on occipital lobe, you will get better signals there. So do you also have experiments where you just put some electrodes in and not all of them?
Yeah, in occipital lobe, obviously it is very much seen that if you put there and you blink your eye, you will see the peaks. Okay, and it's like even if you put in the frontal lobe, you blink your eyes, you will see the peaks. That is there. But it's like for, obviously, it's like for specific work, if there is a video and you are constantly watching that video, obviously your occipital lobes will have high energy.
And the electrodes are labeled when we see the graphs.
Yes. In this software, this is this EEG recording machine is from Maximus RMS. So they have even provided their own software to record this EEG recording. So we are able to record it using their software only. So we will be showing you. And can anyone tell me what is media psychology? Sir told me something about that. Yeah. No.
So why? So what sir told us was basically that say in advertising, you will need to understand how people will react to a particular ads, and what motivates them to say buy some whatever you're trying to sell. So so understanding that would be media psychology as far as I know.
So it's like there is a positive psychology as well as negative psychology. So are you going to it's like make the person curious in terms of negativity or positivity? Are you going to give a some negative thing in the ad? Will that help him, or will a positive thing will help him? So why this EEG recording thing is relevant here? Because we want to show some kind of very fast what that video is, fast running car, na? Yeah. So very fast running car is there. So they want to see that how our brain will behave. Okay. So now this thing comes that just by looking at the signal, you won't be able to know how your brain actually behaves. Just by looking at the signal. I will be showing you the signal here once this all setup is done. So just by looking at the signal, not most of the activity is being seen just by vision. You can only see the blinking of the eye. I will show you here. When the person blinks, there is a peak. Or even if a person moves, then you can see many peaks. But just by thinking or some inside mental activity, we can't just classify it just by seeing the signal. So here comes the importance of signals and systems, or you can say the feature extraction thing. So should I tell you about this thing as well?
Sure.
Go on. So let's start with the methodology of this system is, at first we need data. Okay, so whatever study we want to do, we at first try to acquire the data. So I am showing you this demo to acquire the data. After that, what we do? We do the pre-processing kind of thing. Now, why do we need processing? Because see, there may be many other artifacts as well. We are interested in that activity, but there are artifacts such as your eye blink. It comes in artifact, we already know that eye blink is the peaks. It does come, you can even visually see it. But you want to remove that from that signal because it won't hamper your analysis later. So we even remove those eye blinking thing, muscle movement things, emoji kind of thing.
How do you identify those signals are specifically marked in a certain way? Like they emerge,
Yes, for eye blink you can see that it's very much high. There is a peak. Even for muscle, from the usual, you can say voltage level, it goes up. So we distinguish from that way.
When you say remove it, what do you mean with that? Like remove it from the paper, or
Remove it from the original signal.
or on the computer?
Yes. So for example, if you see it to be
you cut it out.
yeah. So you have a signal in time domain. For example, signal is going like this, and then there is an eye blink thing. So we know that this has a high threshold level than this one. Okay. So what from continuous EEG artifact rejection, we remove this part and concatenate this two part.
Okay.
Okay. pre-processing. I just told you the one, but there are many more. For 19 electrodes, we go for many different signal processing things. There are ICA, PCA. There are many different kinds of transformation. We go for Fourier transform, wavelet transform, many more. So it's like this feature extraction pre-processing thing explores the whole signals and system thing. Now when we have got a signal which is free from those artifacts, known artifacts, so we now try to get features out of those signals. Okay, who is from EC background? So you both must have heard of FFT. And other students? Have you heard of Fourier transform? Fourier transform? Fast Fourier transform, Fourier transform. Okay. So this is the basic feature extraction thing only. So what we do, we try to actually convert that domain from time to frequency domain. And already I told you that the brain waves are being classified in 5 types according to the frequency. So we then try to see that what's the voltage, what's the amplitude of that signal in that frequency. Okay. After that, we can apply classification to this thing. When we get many things, we can use many kind of classifications in this. When we have got many features, we can apply a lot of classifications and then classify. This comes, then there comes the use of machine learning thing. Any question till now? Anything better if I show you the YouTube video?
While many people are fascinated by the brain, they can't really tell you that much about the properties about how the brain works because we don't teach neuroscience in school. And one of the reasons why is that the equipment is so complex and so expensive that it's really only done in major universities and large institutions. So in order to be able to access the brain, you really need to dedicate your life and spend 6.5 years as a graduate student just to become a neuroscientist to get access to these tools. And that's a shame because 1 out of 5 of us, that's 20% of the entire world, will have a neurological disorder. And there are 0 cures for these diseases. And so it seems that what we should be doing is sort of reaching back earlier in the education process, and sort of teaching students about neuroscience, and so that in the future they may be thinking about possibly becoming a brain scientist. And so when I was a graduate student, my lab mate Tim Marzullo and myself decided that what if we took this complex equipment that we have for studying the brain and made it simple enough and affordable enough that anyone, an amateur or a high school student, could learn and actually participate in the discovery of neuroscience. So we did just that. A few years ago, we started a company called Backyard Brains, and we made DIY neuroscience equipment, and I brought some here tonight, and I want to do some demonstrations. You guys want to see some? All right, so I need a volunteer. So right before, what is your name? All right, Sam. I'm going to record from your brain. Have you had this before? Okay. All right. You just stick out your arm for science. Roll up your sleeve a bit. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting electrodes on your arm, and you're probably wondering, I just said I'm going to record from your brain. What am I doing with your arm? Well, you have about 80 billion neurons inside your brain right now. They're sending electrical messages back and forth, and chemical messages. But some of your neurons right here in your motor cortex are going to send messages down when you move your arm like this. It goes down across your corpus callosum, down onto your spinal cord, to your lower motor neuron, out to your muscles here, and that is electrical discharge. It's going to be picked up by these electrodes right here, and we're going to be able to listen to exactly what your brain is going to be doing. I'm going to turn this on for a second. You ever heard what your brain sounds like? All right, let's turn it on. So go ahead, whenever you go ahead and squeeze your hand. All right, so what you're listening to, so this is your motor units that are happening right here. Okay, so let's take a look at it as well. So I'm going to stand over here. I'm going to open up our app here. So now I want you to squeeze. Yeah, so right here, these are the motor units that are happening from her spinal cord out to her muscle right here. And as she's doing it, you're seeing the electrical activity that's happening here. We keep click here and try to see one of them. So keep doing it really, really hard. Yeah, so now we pause on one motor axe potential that's happening right now inside of your brain. Okay. Do you guys want to see some more? All right. That's interesting. Let's get it better. Okay. I need one more volunteer. Okay. What is your name, sir? Miguel. All right. You're going to stand right here. So Miguel, when you're moving your arm like this, your brain is sending a signal down to your muscles right here. I want you to move your arm as well. All right, so your brain is going to send a signal down to your muscles. And so it turns out that there is a nerve that's right here that runs up here that innervates these three fingers. And it's close enough to the skin that we might be able to stimulate that. So that what we can do is copy your brain signals going out to your hand and inject it into your hand so that your hand will move when your brain tells your hand to move. And so in a sense, she will take away your free will, and you will no longer have any control over this hand, okay? You with me? All right, so I need to hook you up. All right, so I'm going to find your ulnar nerve. It's probably right around here. You don't know what you're signing up for when you come up with it. So now I'm going to move away, and I'm going to plug it into our human-to-human interface over here. Okay, so Sam wants you to squeeze your hand again. All right, do it again. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to hook you up over here so that you get this. It's going to feel a little bit weird at first. It's going to feel like when you lose your free will and someone else becomes your agent, it does feel a bit strange. So I want you to relax your hand. All right, Sam, you're with me? All right, so you're going to squeeze. I'm not going to turn it on yet, so go ahead and give it a squeeze. All right, so now, are you ready to go? Ready as I'll ever be. Okay, so I've turned it on, so go ahead and turn your hand. Do you feel that a little bit? Okay, do it again. A little bit. Okay, so relax. So hit it again. Okay. Oh, perfect, perfect. All right, so relax. Do it again. All right, so now. All right, so right now, your brain is controlling your arm and it's also controlling his arm. So go ahead and just do it one more time. All right, so that's perfect. So now, what would happen if I took over my control of your hand? And so just relax your hand. What happens? Nothing. Why not? Because the brain has to do it. Now you do it again. All right, that's perfect. All right, well, thank you guys for being such a good sport. This is what's happening all across the world. Electrophysiology. We're going to bring out the neural revolution. Thank you.
We are actually trying to lower the impedance level so that we can get correct signal. So here you can see the signals going out and the peaks are when he blinks. Okay. Okay, so see you. I don't know how you will see him blink and then there will be spike. Blink. There it comes. These peaks are because of the IP. And here we can see that these signals are according to that. FP1 reference, F7 reference, that averages the ground thing. So we are getting these signals in these electrode position with respect to reference. Okay, so now we are going to show him a video, car chasing video or car race video, and let's see if we can visibly see something. हाँ.
कर खराब हो गया.
like move करोगे तो उसमें भी
So I'm going to show him this car chasing video, and let's see if we can see some changes in the signal, or maybe at the occipital lobe if you see O1 and O2 there, if there will be a visible change in O1 or O2, or maybe in any of the you can say electrode position. But still I'm saying that visibly it's not always that we can get some difference. And also whenever these high spikes even without the video is because of the image. Maybe because the car is moving. So we can see a visible change in O1, FP2 and F8. Also in those. These three electrodes at least. And also you can see that the duration of eye blink has increased. So it's like he blinks now after a long time. Earlier he was blinking. So it's like you can make this a feature. So now you have to
What video are you showing him?
car chasing. Even this voice can disturb you.
I think you can respond better to Bhojpuri video.
So what we actually do, these signals are with respect to time, the video is also with respect to the time. So we actually sync these two and then we see the changes. There was much more blink, 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 maybe because of the flash of the video.
The straight lines is not
At times the straight line is because that the electron is not able to get that. We have to take care of that thing as well. That the impedance level doesn't go very much. Now you can see that with time नहीं, उनका भी होता है, जिनके बाल होते हैं उनका भी होता है, बट थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट होता है, दैट्स इट. एंड ऑल्सो आजकल ऐसे भी सिस्टम आ गए हैं दैट वेयर यू डोंट एक्चुअली नीड दीज पेस्ट एंड ऑल. You can directly use those dry electrodes even for this 21 channel, even more than that. So do you want another demo?
Some other video.
So do you just do that with video? What other sort of experiments do you do?
Okay. See, when we have taken, we already know that the video is of, for example, say 5 minutes. And whenever we start the video, we give some, you can say, marker to the recording team that from this time video has started and the subject has started seeing the video. So from this time, you will see the signal, you will map the signal with respect to your video. So you will see the changes in video and the changes in the brain signal wave as well. So for analysis, it's like it's open. You can do it in many ways.
And with this system, does the brain mainly react on the visual aspect and the audio aspect, or as well about the content? Like, would he react different if you show him a horror movie now?
Yeah, he will react somewhat differently. We'll have to again see the literatures that if some people have worked that whenever a person is terrified, which brain signal. For the fear, I show you it was somewhat the front lobe only. So we'll have to see these things. And it's not just for the audio and video thing, even for the body movement. Okay, for different body. Just now you even saw that TEDx video. So it's like when you do different kind of body movements, you can even classify the different body movements, even the right hand with left hand, movement of your leg with right versus left. So you can even classify these using these brain signals.
And I was just wondering if it's more the objective part or is the emotional part involved too? Like, is it measurable?
Okay, the emotional thing.
Yes.
I think people have worked on this as well. I don't know this.
No, there is a separate line of research for emotion.
Emotion and all.
Okay.
Using this, but yes, using this brain waves, people have tried to do work in this as well.
Okay.
That I know one of this thing, one of my friend did. It was regarding taste, sweet and then sour and then salt. So it's like you can do it with emotions as well. It answers all your questions.
You show us now, like in a media kind of psychology subject, how many subjects do you need to get some kind of result? How, you know, like do you need 10 people to say, okay, this works like that,
Yeah.
or do you need 100? What is like
For
the
that
average?
analysis thing, obviously, we need to take the reference of the literatures as well, and we need to see that have people worked on the 10 subjects or more than that, 20, people even work on 100 subjects, 400, 500. So if the number of the subjects increases, the validity of your result obviously does increase.
But there's no kind of written number you can say.
Yeah, not as such, but yeah, you can start with a few number and then later on you can increase. So for a basic start, you can go with small numbers as well.
Let's thank the presenters. They are doing it on voluntarily basis. It was not their job, but they took it and they came to present all this to you. So let's thank them.